Hello, artists! Today we're going to be starting a Wacky Sweater project. We're going to learn all about patterns and lines and shapes, and we're also going to be working with complementary colors for this project. So if we're ready, here's what we are going to need today. So we're going to be learning about patterns today. All right, so what is a pattern? All right, we see them all around us all the time. They're everywhere. All right, my little pom-poms behind me are in a pattern. All right, so what is a pattern? Any ideas? A pattern is a design that repeats. Right? It repeats over and over again. It can be done with shapes, it can be done with color, and we're going to be practicing that today. On your handout on the bottom, I want you to go ahead and write where it says a pattern is a design that repeats. I want you to write that in the bottom. There's a blank on there. So go ahead and write your name. Well, once you get it on there, all right, you filled it out, you know, we're going to hop over to Brain Pop and we're going to watch a short clip on pattern just to kind of refresh our brains on what a pattern should look like. So let's go do that. All right, now that we got a little more information on patterns, we know what a repeating pattern should look like. We know how to make simple patterns, A-B patterns, A-B, A-B, A-B. We know how to make complex patterns, A-B-C, A-B-C, A-B-C. And we'll be working with those in our project today. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to be making some lines on our sweater paper. So let me switch views and we can get started. All right, so the first step for making this sweater wacky is that we want to make some lines going across our sweater. That includes the body of the sweater and the sleeves of the sweater. You can choose to keep the body and the sleeves matching, so it's like the same pattern the whole way across, or you can do your sweater with a set of patterns on it, and the arms can be patterns as well, but different from what's happening on the body of the sweater. So what we need to do is we need to break this space up by adding some lines, just like you see in the reference shown here. It's also the same exact reference you have on your paper if you prefer to use that one. So I'm going to start off by using my pencil and making some lines across my sweater. A variety of lines is what we're looking for, and that means different lines. You do want to leave space between your lines because that is where we're going to be putting our patterns in. So let's aim to try to put 3 to 4 lines on the body of the sweater. And the same on the sleeves. I am just going to continue my pattern on the sleeves. So take a moment, grab your pencil, and you should be working right along with me. Your line should not match my line. There is a huge variety of lines on this paper for you to pick from. We're going to do horizontal lines. Those are lines that go from left to right. And then we're going to change the type of line that they are. So we have a zigzag, a curly, a wavy, and a dashed line. Once we're done with that, we're going to go ahead and start adding some of our patterns in there. You can start simple by just picking 2 of the shapes shown in the reference and repeat them across your sweater. So I'm going to do something simple like circle, triangle, circle, triangle, circle. Making sure that they are large enough to color in and that they repeat. You just can't put a circle and a triangle. That's not a pattern. That needs to repeat. So circle, triangle, circle, triangle, circle. Also, don't make them so tiny that you can't color them in, that they end up just being pencil drawings. So I'm going to go through and put some shapes in here. On the back of your handout, there are also some doodles, which are just a combination of shapes and lines. If you prefer to do some of the doodles, as long as they repeat, that will be okay as well. You can pick which ones you want to do. So take a moment. Also, these are going to be happening on the sleeves. You probably won't be able to get more than 2 shapes on there. If you're getting more than 2 shapes on there, you are probably making them too small. And then I need to also put a pattern up here. Maybe I will pick some of the doodles for that to kind of give me some ideas. Once again, making sure that they are large enough that you can color them in. One thing that you can do to jazz up or kind of make your pattern more advanced is you can put shapes inside of shapes. All right, and I think I can squeeze one into here. All right. I'll also do one up here. I guess I should put one on like a little turtleneck of my sweater. All right, so now I have all of my patterns on here. It's a combination of lines and shapes. I added some shapes inside of shapes to make my pattern look a little more advanced, a little more interesting. You can feel free to do that with any of your shapes. Put a shape inside of a shape and it just kind of takes it to the next level. Even a little line in there makes it more interesting than just the plain geometric shape. So up next is going to be using complementary colors to color our project in. When we're using complementary colors, they are the ones that are opposite on the color wheel. Sometimes they make your eyes go a little wonky when you look at them. They can kind of make your eyes look a little wonky, but they also really help things stand out as well. You'll notice that some of these complementary color pairs are also the colors of some of maybe your favorite sports teams. They use those colors because they show up well against each other. So for this step, you are just going to use the crayons that were given to you in the first bag that you got. They were just regular old Crayola crayons. And we're going to review our complementary colors by practicing down here, and then we're going to pick a complementary color pair for each section of our sweater. So we're just going to go through and color these in. Where it says red, we're going to color it in red. It's also a great time for you to practice coloring. We get a lot of you just kind of, when it comes to coloring, are very sloppy with it. You don't take your time. And you don't stay inside of your lines. It's just, you're just rushing. You're not, being careful. And we need to work on that skill. So slow it down, take your time, and color them in. Now, where the blotches overlap, you can overlap the crayons. And what happens is it will show you what color will be made when you mix complementary colors. When you mix complementary colors together, they do make a brown. Now, if you don't have the Crayola crayons that were given to you, you can use crayons that you have around your house. I suggest investing in a box of Crayola crayons because we'll be using them for a lot of our projects this year. Any crayons you have lying around the house will work. The 8-pack is limited. There's only just the color wheel colors on there, plus black and brown. So our second complementary pair is blue and orange. This may look familiar if you are an SU fan. Their colors stand out really well when these colors stand out really well when they are next to each other, which is why it was chosen for the SU colors. We also have yellow and purple. And even though we were only given like those 8 crayons, when they overlap, you can see that the colors mix. So if you color with the correct pressure, you will be able to mix the few crayons that you were given, and they will make new colors. Our last complementary pair is yellow and purple. And I know that there are some basketball teams with this color for their jerseys. Some logos out there also use these colors. All right, and when they all mix, they make brown. You guys are always wondering, like, what happens if we mix these? What's going to happen? You can practice with crayons. If you color light enough with the crayons, they are mixable. All right, so we know that we have our complementary color pairs: a red and green, blue and orange, yellow and purple. All right, so up next, we're going to work on coloring our sweater in. So for your sweater, each section of your sweater is going to be colored in using just one complementary pair. So I'm just going to start off with red and green and color a section with just red and green. So I'm going to go and I'm going to pick this section. So from line to line, I'm going to color these in. And you don't need to color or press hard when you're coloring. A lot of you do that. The problem with that is when you press that hard, your hand will get tired fairly quickly. So I am just going to slowly and carefully color around all of the shapes. All right, because we know how to color. We take our time, we color around things. When we see a line, we stop coloring. And take our time coloring. And then inside of here, I'm limited to what I can do because I only have the complementary colors I can work with. So inside, I'm going to color the little squares in here red, and then I'm going to color I am going to trace my pencil line with my green here, and I'm also going to color these guys in green. These kind of look like little Christmas lights almost. All right, so my first section of my sweater is done, and I'm going to repeat that effect throughout the whole project. I'll be back in a minute. What am I doing? All right. So I finished my very wacky sweater. It is completely done in the complementary colors using patterns that were made from different lines and shapes. I used my crayons to color it in. I didn't press too hard, and I filled in all of my white spaces, and it's nice and neat. I didn't color outside my lines, and all of my shapes are still shapes after I got done coloring. So when you are all done, don't forget, I need a photograph of your artwork to know that you participated and completed this project. Without a photograph, I cannot give you a grade or credit for being in class today. So make sure you do that, and I will see you next week.